It's 5:30 on a Friday. You just finished your 45th hour of the work week. Your brain is completely fried. You're sitting in traffic or on the train, staring at nothing. And the thought of going home and cooking feels physically impossible. So you open the app. You order the Thai food, $45 with tip and fees. You get home. You crack open something cold. You sink into the couch and turn on a show you don't even really like, just to stop thinking for an hour, and you tell yourself, I earned this. I worked hard this week, and you did. You absolutely did, but here's what nobody tells you. That $45 order, that nice shirt you wore to the office, not just a shirt. The gas you burned in traffic this morning, not just gas. The stress that made you need that takeout in the first place, all of it, every single piece of it is a hidden tax on your paycheck. A tax that most people never calculate. A tax that is quietly, invisibly, reducing your real hourly wage by 60, 70, sometimes 80%. You think you're making $31 an hour after we do the actual math. The forensic accounting on your life that nobody ever does. You might be making closer to $4, and once you see that number, you will never look at a price tag, a job offer, or a Friday night delivery order the same way again. My name is Gaga, and today we're not talking about investing, budgeting, or any of the standard financial advice you've already heard 100 times. Today, we're exposing a fraud. Not one committed by a corporation, one you are unknowingly committing against yourself every single time you accept a job based on the gross salary number without calculating what that job actually costs you. Subscribe if you've ever looked at your paycheck and thought, where does it all go? Because by the end of this video, you'll finally have the answer. Part 1, the lie on your offer letter. Let's start with the foundational lie. One we are all taught from the moment we graduate and enter the workforce. We are told that our financial value is defined by our annual salary. Simple, clean, measurable. You make $65,000 a year. You divide by 2,080 working hours. You get roughly $31 an hour. That sounds decent. Respectable, enough to build a life on. And we accept that number. We plan around it. We take out loans based on it. We feel good or bad about ourselves based on it. But here's the problem. In the business world, there is a concept that every accountant, every entrepreneur, every CEO understands as a fundamental truth. Revenue without expenses is meaningless. If a bakery sells $1 million worth of bread but spends $1 million on flour, rent, and labor, that bakery isn't profitable. It doesn't matter how impressive the revenue looks on the top line. What matters is what's left after the costs. We apply this logic without hesitation to every business on earth. But when it comes to our own labor, our own life, our own time, the most precious and irreplaceable resource we have, we only look at the revenue. We completely ignore the cost of goods sold. And the good being sold is you, your time, your energy, your health, your weekends, your attention. And the cost of selling yourself to an employer is not zero. It is far, far from zero. Let me introduce you to someone. Let's call him James. James is a typical professional in today's economy. He makes $65,000 a year. That's $31 an hour. He has a decent apartment, a reliable car, and on paper, his life looks fine. He's not rich, but he's not struggling. He's doing everything right, except James has never done the real math on his job. Step 1. The tax haircut before a single dollar of James's salary hits his bank account. The government takes its share. Federal income tax, state income tax, Social Security, Medicare, FICA taxes, depending on where James lives. This carves his $31 an hour down to approximately $24. This is the part everyone knows. Nobody's surprised by taxes. But we mention it because most people still mentally live in their gross salary, not their take-home. So we're already down from $31 to $24 before James has done a single thing. Step 2. The commute costs James drives 30 minutes each way to his office. That's an hour of daily driving. That car, which he essentially owns for the purpose of getting to work, costs him in gas, insurance, maintenance, and depreciation. Conservative estimate, $4,000 to $5,000 per year just to physically get himself to the building where he earns money. If James takes public transit instead, it's a monthly pass, fare increases, and the occasional Uber when he misses the last train. Either way, he is spending thousands of dollars a year just to show up. That's not a lifestyle expense. That's a job expense. It only exists because the job exists. Step 3. The appearance tax. James cannot walk into his office in sweatpants. There are professional standards, business casual at minimum, possibly suits, dry cleaning, the right shoes, a haircut that looks put together. These are costs that would not exist or would be dramatically lower if James worked for himself or didn't work at all. They are not personal choices. They are professional requirements at a conservative $1,500 to the dollars. $0 per year for clothing and professional upkeep. Step 4, the convenience tax. The big one. This is where most people's budgets quietly hemorrhage money, and almost nobody connects it back to the job. Because James is at the office from 9 to 5, he doesn't have time to meal prep on Tuesday night. So he buys lunch twice a week. He grabs the $5 coffee from the cafe near the elevator because he physically cannot function in the 2 p.m. meeting without it. He pays a dog walker because he isn't home during the day. He orders the grocery delivery because he's too drained after work to fight the parking lot at the supermarket. None of these costs are luxuries. They are direct consequences of having the job. They would not exist if the job did not exist. Conservatively, these convenience expenses add another $4,000 to $7,000 per year. Step 5, decompression spending, the hidden category. And then there's the darkest line item on the real budget, the one nobody talks about because it's uncomfortable. Decompression spending. This is the money James spends to heal from the job. The Friday bar tab. The impulsive weekend away he books in February. Because he simply cannot face another 3 months of winter Monday mornings. The retail therapy after the terrible performance review. The therapy itself, if he's being honest. The streaming subscriptions he needs to numb his brain at the end of the day. This is not frivolous spending. It is the psychological maintenance cost of selling 40 hours of your life every week to an organization that does not love you back. Research in occupational psychology is clear. People in high stress, low autonomy jobs spend significantly more on mood regulation purchases than those with control over their time. You're not weak for doing this. You're human. That is a cost of the job, and it belongs in the calculation. When you add up all 5 categories, taxes, commute, appearance, convenience, and decompression, James's $65,000 salary doesn't actually deliver $65,000 of value to his life. His real net income after job-related expenses is closer to $35,000. He lost $30, $0 before he even got to decide how to spend it. And we are only halfway through the equation. Here's where it gets truly eye-opening. Because your real hourly wage isn't just about money, it's about time. And just like we dramatically overestimate the money we bring home, we just as dramatically underestimate the time we give away. HR says James works 40 hours a week. HR is lying, or at least HR is measuring wrong. Let's follow James through an actual weekday. His alarm goes off at 6:30 a.m. He showers, shaves, irons his shirt, makes himself presentable. That takes 30 to 45 minutes. This is labor performed for the employer. You wouldn't do this on this timeline if the office didn't exist. It's unpaid. Then he commutes 30 minutes each way on our per day of his life. Gone, uncompensated. Sitting in traffic or standing on a packed train. Over a full year of working days. That's over 100 hours of driving that nobody pays him for. Then there's lunch. Technically off the clock, yes. But James can't go home. He can't take a nap. He can't pick up his kids or run a real personal errand more than a mile from the office. He is held geographically captive by his job during that hour. It is not free time. It is a supervised pause. Then the commute home. Another 30 minutes. Then he walks in the door, and he needs about 30 minutes just to decompress. To stop being work James and start being human James. During that window, he's not present, not really available to his partner, his kids, his own thoughts. He's staring at his phone, half answering messages, rerunning conversations from the day in his head. Then, and this is the one people forget, the mental overhead, the Sunday dread that starts around for p.m. The email he checks at 9 p.m. Because he's worried about the morning. A low-level background hum of workplace stress that never fully switches off. None of this is paid. All of it is real when you count it honestly. The grooming time, both commutes, the captive lunch hour, the decompression window, the mental shadow hours. James isn't giving 40 hours a week to his employer. He's giving 55 to 60 hours over a year of working weeks. That's nearly 3,000 hours of his life committed to his employment. Now let's do the real math, real net income. $35,000, real hours committed. $3,000. $35,000 divided by 3,000 hours equals $11. 67 per hour. That's the optimistic version in high cost of living cities. With higher decompression spending and longer commutes, it's closer to $8, sometimes less. James thought he was making $31 an hour. He's making $8 to $11. And here's the comparison that stops people cold. The teenager at the fast food restaurant down the street makes $12 or $13 an hour. He walks to work. He wears a uniform provided by his employer. He leaves his stress completely at the fry station the moment his shift ends. He has zero commute cost, zero appearance tax, and often zero decompression spending because the job doesn't follow him home. By real hourly wage math, the teenager might be making more money than James. James has a college degree, a respectable LinkedIn profile, and a job title that sounds impressive at dinner parties, and he is mathematically losing. The golden handcuffs trap now. Here's where this gets even more insidious. Because the natural response is I'll just get promoted. I'll make more money. But promotions are often the most dangerous moment in this entire equation. Let's say James gets promoted to senior manager. He gets a $10,000 raise. He's thrilled. He celebrates. He tells his parents. It feels like winning. But look at what comes with that promotion. He now works late most evenings, so he orders delivery 5 nights a week instead of 2. He needs a better wardrobe. The old business casual doesn't cut it anymore. His stress levels double, so his decompression spending increases significantly. He can no longer carpool, so his transportation costs go up. He books a more expensive vacation because he feels he deserves it after what the job demands. Run the numbers. His gross went up by $10,000. His expenses went up by $12,000. His hours went up by 15 per week. His real hourly wage went down after the promotion. He is processing more money through his bank account. He is keeping less of it, and he is surrendering more of his life to generate it. This is the golden handcuffs trap. The salary gets bigger. The lifestyle inflates to match. The costs of working expand to consume the raise, and nothing actually improves. The hamster wheel just spins faster. The compound interest you're drinking, there's one final dimension to this. That is almost too painful to calculate. Opportunity cost. That $5 daily coffee you buy because you're too exhausted to make it at home. That $45 Friday delivery order. That $200 impulsive purchase of something you don't need because you need to feel something other than work stress. These aren't just current expenses. They are future wealth that you are liquidating in real time. $5 per day in unnecessary spending, coffee, vending machine, convenience items that exist because of job exhaustion over 30 years. Invested in an index fund averaging 7% annual return. That's nearly $200,000. You are not drinking coffee. You are drinking a beach house down payment. You are drinking your early retirement. You are drinking decades of financial freedom, one tired Friday at a time. The system depends on you. Being too exhausted to see this, it depends on you passively accepting the gross salary number and never running the full equation. It depends on you signing the lease on the nicer apartment because you feel like your salary justifies it, which then locks you tighter into needing the job, which increases your stress, which increases your decompression spending, which makes you more dependent on the salary. It is a perfectly engineered loop, and the exit requires that you see the loop clearly. This is where the video shifts, because everything we've talked about so far is diagnosis. Now we talk about the cure, and I want to be upfront. The cure is not quit your job tomorrow. That's not realistic for most people. We have rent, we have families, we have obligations. The solution isn't reckless, it's surgical. The goal is to ruthlessly optimize your real hourly wage, to make it the central metric of your financial life, not gross salary, not take-home pay, but the number you actually keep per hour of your life invested. Step 1, calculate your number. This weekend, not tonight. You're too tired on Friday. Do this Sunday morning when you're fresh and thinking clearly. Sit down with a piece of paper. Do the forensic accounting on your own life. Start with your annual take-home after taxes. Then subtract, honestly, your commute costs for the year, your clothing and professional appearance expenses, your convenience spending that only exists because of the job, the lunches out, the coffee, the delivery orders on exhausted weeknights, and yes, your decompression spending, the weekend trips you needed to recover, the retail therapy, the streaming subscriptions, all of it. Whatever number you're left with, that's your real annual income. Now count your real annual hours, your scheduled work hours, plus commute time both ways, plus your grooming and prep time, plus a realistic estimate of the mental overhead, the Sunday dread, the evening emails, the job-related stress that bleeds into your off hours. Divide the first number by the second. Write that number on a sticky note. Put it on your credit card. Put it somewhere you see it before you spend money. That is your real hourly wage. That is the true cost of every purchase you make in hours of life. Step 2, reprice every purchase in time. This is the concept at the heart of the book Your Money or Your Life. And it is the single most powerful shift in consumer psychology I have ever encountered. When you know your real hourly wage, every price tag becomes a time tag. If your real wage is $10 an hour and you're looking at a $200 impulse purchase, that's not $200. That's 20 hours of commuting, dealing with your manager, sitting in pointless meetings, and missing your family. Is it worth 20 hours when the question is framed in time instead of money? The answer is almost always no. Not because you're being frugal, but because you can feel what 20 hours costs you in a way you cannot feel what $200 costs you. This one mental shift will save you more money than any budgeting app, any savings challenge, any financial discipline system ever invented, because it doesn't require willpower. It just requires accurate information. Step 3. Attack the hidden job costs strategically once you know your real hourly wage. You can identify which job costs are worth attacking first. And these cuts are more powerful than any raise. Every dollar you remove from your work-related expenses is a dollar of pure margin. It doesn't get taxed. It doesn't come with more hours. It doesn't require asking your boss for anything. Can you negotiate to days of remote work per week? If your commute costs $5,000 a year and takes 150 hours, to remote days per week could save you $2,000 and 100 hours annually. That is a substantial raise, and your company didn't spend a cent giving it to you. Can you start meal prepping on Sunday? Not because cooking is fun, because it eliminates one of the biggest convenience drains on your real wage. Prepped lunches for the week cost $20. Buying lunch out 5 days costs $60 to $80. That's a $40 to $60 weekly difference. Over $1,000 a year. Can you genuinely separate your decompression from spending? Can you replace the retail therapy with a walk, a workout, a phone call with someone who actually knows you? This one is harder because decompression spending is emotionally driven. But every dollar you recover from it is a dollar that stops being a cost of the job. Can you stop caring what your coworkers think of your wardrobe? This sounds petty. It's real money. Professional standards exist. Yes, but the gap between meeting the standard and trying to impress colleagues is often hundreds or thousands of dollars per year. Every job cost you cut is margin you are keeping. And margin, the gap between what comes in and what goes out, is where freedom lives. Step for treat your life like a business. This is the mindset shift that makes everything else sustainable. A smart business owner doesn't just try to increase revenue. They obsess over margin, over efficiency, over the gap between what they earn and what it costs them to earn it. Your life is a business. Your labor is the product. And right now, most people are running their business at razor-thin margins or negative margins without even knowing it. The goal is not to make the most money. The goal is to keep the most money per hour of life invested. A person earning $100,000 a year, spending $95,000, working 70 hours a week. That is a failing business. Impressive top-line revenue. Catastrophic margins burning out in real time. A person earning $55,000 a year, spending $25,000, working 35 hours a week with a short commute and low job-related costs. That is a thriving business, solid margins, growing wealth, actual life. The numbers don't lie. The metric that matters is not salary. It is your real hourly wage and the gap between what you earn and what it costs you to earn it. The final reframe here's the thing about this calculation. I want you to carry with you. After this video ends, the system, the employers, the banks, advertisers, profits from your ignorance of this math. They want you focused on the gross salary. They want you to feel like you're doing well based on the top line number. So you sign the lease on the bigger apartment, finance the nicer car, and stay trapped in a lifestyle that requires the job to sustain it. And then the job has you completely, because now you need it, not to live, but to maintain the life you built around it. And that's when you've lost all your leverage, all your options, and all your freedom. The antidote is the real hourly wage. Know your number. Reprice every purchase in time. Cut the costs that only exist because of the job. Build the gap between income and expenses, because that gap, that margin, is not just money. It's the ability to say no to the bad job. It's the option to take a risk on something you actually want to build. It's the freedom to not check your phone at 9 p.m. on a Sunday. It's time, only currency that, once spent, you never get back. Don't sell it at a discount. If this video made you look at your paycheck differently, do me a favor. Share it with one person at your job who looks exhausted. We are all running this same calculation wrong. And hit subscribe, because every week we do this kind of honest math on the things nobody else is talking about. See you next week.